Let's look at some examples of what typical good sets look like nowadays. What do we got here? Where is it? This is an example of a very typical, pretty good interaction. And this is also a great example of going from direct to indirect on the open. So in this case, I view the girl as, highly compliant. I'm going to go do my normal open, which is go as direct as I can. But as I was approaching her, as I was walking over, she turned around at an awkward moment and kind of caught my eye when I was just about to lean in and start to approach. So it looked kind of predatory the moment she turned and looked at me. So because of that, I didn't want to freak her out. I didn't want to put too much out there right away. So I decided to go with a more indirect approach. Right? So the premise here is you want to open as direct as you can get away with, but if you're getting a negative vibe, if she seems non-compliant, et cetera, you want to go more indirect. So I switched immediately to something indirect, which, as I said, are you from Vegas? Right? Pretty much as indirect as it can get. But then she was smiling and happy and didn't seem offended, didn't seem put off, didn't seem weirded out by the weird posture that I had adopted when she turned. So because it was positive, then I changed it up and went very direct. I'm actually, I don't even know why I said that. I actually like you, etc. So that's the first thing to note. Next thing to note is how I go about moving her right away. This is absolutely critical. All right. Good game should not look like game. Good game should not feel like game. All right. So you want to, as soon as possible, move away from the place that you met her, away from the situation that feels like a pickup. Hey, excuse me. Hi. Are you from? Actually, I don't even care. I don't even know why I asked that. You're very cute.
Thank you.
Todd, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Todd.
Yes. You. Oh. Sorry. I thought you had
Yeah,
I thought. Have you? This is gonna be really creepy. Have you ever shaken someone's hand and then they have 2 fingers or something like that?
No.
I thought you just did that to me. I was oh shit. Anyway.
No.
What's your name?
Yeah.
You're quite cute.
Thank you.
What are you doing right this exact second of your life?
Shopping.
Shopping.
We'll talk to you right now, but shopping, yeah.
I like the second. Right. So clearly she's reacting to me. She's laughing. She's justifying herself. When someone, this is an interesting form of qualification. When someone gets too logical, or when someone goes out of the way to justify something, what color is your shirt? Be red. Actually, it's maroon, but right. As soon as someone does that, you know that they're reacting to you. You know that they're in your frame. Right? So it's just being hyper-logical actually is a sign of being in one's head. I like the second answer. That means you're literal and smart. See, I'm thinking that it's very hot and I want to take you for some kind of smoothie or related beverage for 2 minutes and find out if you're as cool and interesting as I think you might be.
Okay.
Does that sound like the worst idea in the world?
No.
I like that. Unfortunately, see how I closed in parts, right? Is I'm kind of interested in taking you for a smoothie or related beverage. The other thing that's very interesting and critical here is when I go through these little trial closes and when I go through the soft close, I actually speak slower. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is, as I'm speaking, I'm watching their reaction. So if I'm if I were to ask you, right, and if I see them suddenly tense up, then I'm if I were to ask you where you're from, and I'll just do something that's not a close, right? Because if they tensed up on if I were to ask you, that means they're thinking, oh shit, he's gonna ask me out, or and they're not ready for that yet, right? But if I were to ask you if you would enjoy a smoothie or a coffee, and if they tense up there, more what kind of, are you very healthy, or are you typical American? It's a very interesting, So I can always veer off of the close at any moment if they seem unreceptive to the close. But as long as they seem receptive, or especially if they start smiling and getting more into it as I close, then I know I have a green light, okay? So that's the other beauty of the soft close, and the beauty of kind of talking slowly through it is that you can sense their reaction, and that way, again, you can find out all the information where they're at without actually hearing the word no. And you want to avoid that word no, because once they say no once, now you have to convince them to change their mind, right? And it's very hard to convince someone to change their mind. It's better to just never have them say no in the first place. Unfortunately, this is my first time here, so I don't know smoothie places. I
don't either. Yeah.
We could go. Actually, Whole Foods is right around the corner. We can go grab a smoothie there. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let's do it.
So your name's Todd?
It is. Why did she go with me? Because I asked. Good. You guys paid attention before. That's very important, right? She goes with you because you ask. If you could have the greatest set ever. If you just stand there on the street corner, it will be a 20-minute set on the street corner. It will never go anywhere. You have to ask. And that's the biggest part of venue changing, is believing it's possible, knowing that you should do it, and asking. I'll take questions after a few more. Yeah. Cool. But why did she go with me? Because I asked. And then now, this is subtle but important as well. Once we're in motion, I'm not going to hit on her. I'm just going to have small talk, right? Because I'm already winning, right? I'm already in winning position. If I do something that's extreme or risky, I could ruin that winning position, right? This interaction will be better as soon as we sit down. And I know that's the case. So all I want to do from now is just get to sitting down, and then any kind of escalation, teasing, moving things forward that I want to do can happen better in a seated environment. But if I try something extreme between now and when we sit down, she might object, I might never get there, all right? So when you're already winning, don't fuck it up, right? Don't take big risks in an already winning situation. It is.
And you're not from Vegas.
I am not from Vegas. Do it this way. I live here now, but I am recent.
Okay.
So I was originally in New York and LA. So let's do like a brunch drink type thing or whatever. That way you don't have to, do retail therapy. So what we do here is we sit down. There's probably, I want to say, half hour, maybe 45 minutes of just talking, getting to know each other, building rapport, that kind of stuff. It was going actually really well. Problem is she was in town with her mom, and her mom's picking her up, and it'd be very awkward for her to continue this as is. So in this case, I just go for the number with plans behind it. I can give you emotional support and flirtation therapy instead. All right, cool. What is your number?
916.
Cool. And then, yeah, she ended up leaving town the next day. Unfortunately, she was planning on staying, but then her mom had some kind of emergency or whatever, so didn't work. But did text back and forth, was good for a while, solid interaction, etc. As you'd expect. Usually when you venue change, the interactions will be solid. If I get a random number, like a random quick number, I'm going to expect more than 50% is probably flaky unless it was a really good interaction. There was a solid reason why we had to leave each other. But if I actually do a venue change and instant date with a girl and get a number, I'm expecting that solid 80% of the time. Right? I'm expecting much, much, much more solid. And that's why that little instant date, even if it's only 2 minutes or 5 minutes, so valuable.